everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael Sandler, your host on Inspire Nation, along with
CJ Lou from the Fire It Up with CJ show.
Woohoo!
Woohoo!
If you ever wanted to shake things loose, improve your life, or step way outside of the box, then do we have the Flip Things on Their Head show for you. Today we'll be talking about how to break through your paradigms, find new paths, and discover new ways to succeed. That plus we'll talk about changing seasons, getting out of ruts, warmth, where's the warmth, and what to do when your significant other is 10,000 miles away.
Oh,
So welcome back to the show, CJ. Are you ready to shine?
I am ready to shine.
All right, so I've got to ask, we're talking today about flipping things on their heads. You have a very different energy about you today than you have over the last few weeks.
Really? How would you describe my energy?
More fire.
More
more
fire.
more energized, more, if before your energy was kind of like a closed suitcase, a going inward, now the suitcase is opened back up.
Wow.
It's more expansive this week. Can see it in just your energy, your voice, and how you're moving your body, and of
Yeah.
course you're wearing color.
Ah. You know what's so funny is I got my phone is possessed. I don't know if your phone does this or not, but I'll be walking
I don't have a
along.
smartphone, or let me put it this way: I don't have a smartphone that's hooked up to anything.
Okay. Well, my phone just starts playing music every now and then, or things get loaded
Oh,
up. I mean, I'm not sure what's happening to
this is
it.
the new phone.
Well, my old phone, and then the new
They repaired
phone.
it.
Yeah, the new phone is. I finally got my new phone actually a couple days ago, and it looks awful, but it works. So thank you, LG, for sending it back to me. But uh, uh, today I looked, and for some reason I was like trying to move the icon around on my new phone, and it opened up a Osho deck. It's like this tarot card for Osho. So I figured, well, I guess I must need to open this up. So I opened it up, and I said, what do I need to know at this point? And I realized that yet again, I had a big training on Monday, and so I spent a lot of my time, basically this whole past weekend, being in my mind, working on slides and like trying to refine the slides, and getting outside of my spirit self and moving into my mind self. And the mind like just got into the car, started driving, and kicked my spirit outside. That's like,
I think we got to talk with your mind because it really needs to take a back seat.
I know. So it's like kind of like dropped my spirit off at the bus stop and drove away. And then
Oh
today I was
no.
like, I need to go pick that thing up. So I was working on that today. But and I thought, did it go away? Do I feel like I dropped it off at the bus stop, or did I just merely have it sit in the back seat, or is it still in the driving seat and I don't realize? Like, is it a subtle shift that I need to make? So that's what happened to me this morning, and I was wondering. So I did this tarot card after I did my yoga session this morning, and it said breakthrough, and it's this
Ooh.
guy, and the card is a guy smashing through like some, perceived ceiling, and it's all red and like red energy all over the place, and he's just
This
punching
fits
through.
perfectly with today's topic.
Yeah, so it said breakthrough, and I thought, wow, and I read the tarot card, and the tarot card said that sometimes you need to go into the like your darkest, what is it, your darkest moments, or your
Dark night of the soul or
yeah,
something.
dark. Yeah, you have to go to the dark night of your soul, and then when you come through the other side, it's not like you have to be able to be willing to go into the dark night of your soul, because if you don't, and you go in it not knowing what's going to happen, if you're going to free fall into nothingness or break through to something new, right? And this Wednesday, I had a walk with my husband, and the whole walk, like, when you're just miscommunicating and everything with your spouse, it's just like you're just irritating each other, making
I've
each other
never
sad.
experienced this.
Well, this one got led into like massive tears. I mean, it was just awful.
It's
And
when you
then,
just need to stop because there's nothing you can say to
right.
pull it back. The gears are grinding.
Yes, and then you're like, what have I? And then finally take a break from each other, and you're like, oh my God, what have I done? Like you just you know what I mean? You just need a break from each other, but you're in it, and so you don't even have the space to know that your conversation is going in a really unhelpful way. So, anyways, I had that. It was full of tears and just like painful, heart stabbing moments, and then yesterday night, my husband decided to wake me up because he had a really nice dream, and I was like, "Really? You're waking me up at 4:30 to tell me this?" And I was like, "Ah!" So he's like, "Yeah, I had this really nice astral projection. It was really cool." And I was like, "That's really great, honey."
Well, doesn't he know about dream journaling? And maybe you
I
can
know.
talk about
Yeah,
it later
journal. Yeah,
on.
exactly. So then I was like, okay, it's the
So where'd he
anniversary.
go? Where'd he go?
He actually went astral projecting over the house, and based on um, our our conversation, which had to do with me letting
Mhm.
go of my kids leaving, letting go of trying to shape the future the way that I wanted, including that with him. It's like, I kind of want everything like the kids are going to go and we're going to like start a future. And I think you have to be intentional, but then also be free to whatever happens, happens. And I finally reached that point where I was like, you know what? I realized that we're going on spiritual paths. We may go in different paths. We may stay on the same path. My hope is that we stay on the same path, but I don't know. And if we end up going on different paths, I want you to be free to do that, even if it means like leaving me. Like, I don't want to have, and it wasn't as if the conversation went that, like, he wasn't telling me that, but that's where I thought he was going. And so I was like, and so I forgive you if you decide to do that. And I want you to be free to do that. And it was just painstakingly, it was so painful to just say that, but it really, I had to like dive deep into my soul to like see if that was really true, and it was true. And so I said it, and it was just so painful. And in the reality, we're not even going anywhere close to that, but in my mind I had to go there just so I knew that it's a possibility that on these paths sometimes you separate. And not that I want that, but it could be the possibility, and it's happening with my son. And last weekend my husband was on a business trip. The two kids were gone, and I was in the house by myself for I don't even. It's
Oh, I know
probably,
this feeling.
yeah, it's probably, yes, right? It's been like 18 years since I've been by myself in the house alone. In fact, I don't even think I've ever been in the house by myself alone for like a whole day. And that's what happened on Saturday. And it was so, I felt like I was rattling around in this house. It just felt awful. And so I was like, oh my God, I'm so needy. I need to talk to someone. I need to be with someone. I'm so lonely. And I
But
thought, so that's a weekend. And so it sounds like you had something similar with Jessica?
well, let's take each piece of the puzzle. First off, I want to finish off the astral projection. So you were floating, he was floating above the
He was
house.
floating above the house. He was anchoring to say, like, I'm committed, I'm here, and I want to tell you that I'm building a house around it, which is just so beautiful. So that's what he wanted to wake up and tell me. But
Fair enough.
sadly, when he did that, I woke up and I thought about, oh gosh, many years ago, my dad died, and my mom called me almost an hour from now. So I just kept on thinking about my dad's death and replaying that moment of my mom calling me saying, Dad died. And I just was weeping like uncontrollably, like shaking, weeping, like energy was moving from through me. It was like it was
You
totally the dark night of the soul, and I just went with it. And it was just I was fighting it, and then I went with it. And then today, it's like it's still sort of there, but it's like it seems like a distant past. It's just so
He hit
weird.
an energetic tripwire, a landmine of 4:30 in the morning.
I did. Well, I think I've hit it the day before, and then I hit it that weekend when the kids were gone, and I was like, wow, the kids are going to be gone, and Gid's gone, and this is awful. And then when for some reason I misheard what my husband said, and I thought he was like, we could be going on divergent spiritual paths, and he didn't say that. He was like, I want to be on a path with you, but for whatever reason I heard we could be on divergent spiritual paths, and I went through my own practice of saying, if we do that, I will set you free. Like it's okay. I love you that much that I would set you free, but mishearing that and feeling the pain of like, actually, if that were to happen, was awful. And then my dad's death, and then yeah, I've just had like a gigantic let go. That's
So
probably why
this
my
is
energy looks weird.
the energy looks good though. It doesn't
It
look
does?
bad. I would
Okay.
say it actually looks better than the last few
Okay.
weeks.
Okay. Good.
So if we go back and we put all the pieces together, because this fits perfectly, this dovetails perfectly, or is on path with today's talk,
Yes.
which is even being in the house alone and in that discomfort, like you said, it rattles things around. That can actually be a really, really good thing.
Yeah.
Because if you don't get rattled around once in a while, you stay in your comfort zone, which means you stay both on the path that you're on, which may be great, but you also stay on the thoughts that you are. You don't get out of your paradigm to look at things a different way. You just got some substantial paradigm busting.
I did.
Saturday, I'm so lonely. I'm so lonely. You know?
Where is everyone? And it's so funny because I was like, maybe I should call someone up to get together. And I thought, actually, I only have like 2 friends. Like I didn't, like I probably have like probably hundreds of friends. But like when you're lonely and you'd want to call someone up last minute to go to do something, it ended up being like 2 friends, one of which it doesn't even live in the state. 2 of which don't live in the state. Actually, I have 3 friends, but 2 of which don't even live in the state. So it was kind of sad.
Conversely, and I have had this experience more recently than I care to admit, and I'm going, is there anybody I can call in this situation? And I'm like, no. It's not even that I don't have friends. It's just I can hear the stuff I'm going to say in my head. If I can hear it already, why do I need to say it to somebody else? What's going to be the point to that?
I actually think there's somehow cathartic to say it out loud. Okay, what would you have said during this weekend if you could have?
It would have been some sort of a pep talk of everything's going to be all right.
Okay.
I think it would have been some sort of a pep talk because I don't like complaining, or Jessica would disagree with me. She says, you complain. We go back and forth on that one. But I don't like saying, poor me, woe is me. And so I'm like, all right, so you've got a lot of stuff going on. So basically, long and short of it, she's 10,000 miles away right now. She was in Taiwan yesterday. She left, I think 2.5 days ago, something like that. Mm-hmm. And she flew first to Taiwan, spent like half a night's sleep, and then half a day in Taiwan, and then flew into the Philippines and got to the Philippines this morning, I believe it was, or this evening. It's all, 12-hour time difference. And she's going to be there for another 10 or 11 days or so, Philippines and Taiwan.
Wow.
And we had this bunch of work piled on us, on top of stuff we're doing, on top of running the daily show, on top of.
Right.
See, even when I say that, I don't really want to complain about it. It just is what it is. And we've been working on a book on gratitude. And so I've been doing a whole bunch of gratitude exercises. So it's really challenged me in that way and got me out of the box. So that's fantastic. At the same time, when you're having a blue moment, you're like, what do I do? Do I want to speak to somebody? Do I want to call somebody? Yeah, I want to call somebody. What are you going to want to talk about? Oh, I don't really want to complain. Darn it! And then Jessica, I finally got a hold of her on on Skype today, and there are a whole bunch of big business stuff that we're going to have to take care of when she comes back that I have to get rolling on now. And here, she's flown halfway around the world. Actually, she got sick immediately upon arrival. She was throwing up all day in the bus and travels today. And she's feeling better now. So I'm not about to go, hi, honey. Nice to talk to you on Skype. It's the end of the world. So I go quiet. Well, actually, I pep talk her and tell her how great things are, but I don't want to go down that road. And so So I go in my little man cave.
And what do you do in your man cave? Do you punch stuff?
Not usually. The only time, in all seriousness, the only time I punch myself is when I'm out of sync with my higher self and I have two taskmasters at the time. And I can either please the taskmaster that's not my higher self or my higher self, but there's no way to please both.
Mm.
Then my ego kicks into high gear and says, "What are you listening to that guy upstairs for? You need to take care of this now." And so it's punching me out of not love, but out of protection.
Right, right, okay.
It's basically trying to bee slap me.
Okay, got it. Okay.
That was a family-friendly way to put
Yes,
that.
yes.
So this weekend or when the last couple days, it's just been a breathe deep, put one foot in front of the other, know that in this particular moment, everything is fine just as it is. And it's weird. As soon as she left, the skies got gray, winter rolled in. It's been cold. It hit, I guess, 41 yesterday.
Oh,
It's,
wow.
I think, a tiny bit warmer than that today. The sun's literally just come out during the interview, so woohoo for that. And just it was like the whole world went black and white when she left. It was like
Oh.
such a shamanic dream world.
Right.
Going, well, if this doesn't have some significance to it. But
Oh.
in the thick of things, and I think this is good. So I have not looked forward. Okay, I have dreaded her leaving. I have dreaded her leaving because she's my one, and on top of that, it's a two-person show.
Right, right.
And so, two-person show, and I have no idea how to dote over the kitty cats, who are two rescued feral cats, so they have their own little special needs.
Right.
To dote over them or even get them to eat the way that she does. And so it's like going to be a parent plus and while she's gone. So it's but so I've dreaded it, haven't looked forward to it, and knew that this time apart, not only will it make the heart grow fonder, but it will force me to look at things in a very, very different way.
Mm.
There's no amount of money that you could give somebody. Well, I guess they could. We had a guest on Coot Blackson. He could take you to India and take your wallet, your passport, and your money away from you, and he could give you this experience of a lifetime where it shifts everything that you have. But experiences like that, and that's what I'm going through now, have tremendous shift to it that you probably can't tell. I can't tell in the moment. But I know it's a paradigm buster. I know it is going to significantly change some of my outlooks on things, some of her outlooks on things, and out of that will come growth. And I believe growth is why we're here. It isn't to take an easy chairlift ride or to take the green slope, the bunny slope for your whole life.
Mm-hmm.
And so what you're going through, what I'm going through, what listeners are going through right now, I really do think can have a tremendous benefit to it. And so I keep reminding myself this as I watch, like in the old movie Airplane, that poop flying through the air and goes whack right into the pan.
Well, you know what? It reminds me of, in Hawaii, you're familiar with this, I'm sure, as Pele. And
Oh, of course.
yeah, the
She'll
goddess of
burn you down and build you back up.
right, but that's the whole idea is that it's not gentle, right? It's just like, like a volcano.
I have a good story on this.
Yeah, tell me.
We actually went to Pele. And when I mean went to Pele, we
Yeah.
have a friend. She's a very, very, very special auntie. She was there. She has a home there below the national park
Hmm.
where Pele more or less roams around.
Which national park is it? Do you remember?
I couldn't tell you the name. It's on the opposite side of the town with all the frogs. Hilo.
Okay,
The
got it.
opposite side, I believe it is, of Hilo,
Okay.
where the volcano has been running. And her home was in direct path no, 3, 4, 5, maybe 5 years ago now,
Mm-hmm.
of Pele, of the lava, and it split right before it got to her, and she'd been praying there, and it split, and it seemed 5, 6, 7 homes in her neighborhood, then swallowed back up right beyond it all the way to the ocean's edge. And
Whoa.
so she's in this tiny little, the Hawaiian word for a hole or a parting is a puka. She's in a little puka of palm trees, all sorts of growth, shrubbery, bushes. So all the wildlife, the birds specifically, are all around her house, which is in this one little section of rainforest,
Wow.
which got spared. And so we went and spent some time with her there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing. And we got to hike on the fresh lava, which is fresh. This was a couple-year-old lava, which, and I did some barefoot walking on it. It
Wow.
was really, really sharp. And
Yeah, it
it's not
hurts.
this wasn't a stone sharp. It was like laid down tiny little pieces of glass. It was really fascinating
Wow.
and very, very, very porous. We walked one day and just felt called and went walking and walking and walking until we got to the lava, the actual lava, glowing red, oozing
Wow.
down, and it was moving slower than molasses.
Wow.
And so we walked out right by it, and I had a stick that I'm poking to see if it's going to go through the rock. And we got to close enough that it was very warm underneath us.
Wow.
It was the lava was moving pretty much either underneath or underneath just in front of us. When I mean just in front, it's 2 or 3 feet, because we'd watch the stone in front of us turn into lava. Uh,
Wow.
it would
Jesus.
melt, and it
Wow.
had this crackle and pop. And before it would crackle and pop, it would be a hiss, because it's basically, I guess, there's water in stone. There's a certain percentage of moisture in there.
Mm.
And so it cooks the moisture out and stuff turns to gas, and the gas escapes and then it melts. And
Mm.
so what I'm told is if you're in this situation, if it gets real hot underneath you, you better boogie or you're a goner.
Right.
And we sat there and meditated there where 2 feet at most from the
Wow.
lava. I had my hands kind of almost over it, kind of just feeling the energy of it. It's mesmerizing. I could see people getting hurt or worse doing that because it is so moth to a flame. Oh my God. But it was such an incredible spiritual experience of the earth is alive.
Mm.
You earth right there in
Mm.
front of you.
Mm.
And so yeah, it's raw, it'll burn you, it'll take your life away. It'll also, you could see on the lava flows where the lava had just flown, there's nothing growing. Then a few years later, there's stuff starting to sprout through, and you can see in different former neighborhoods, because this whole area got raised by the lava.
Mm-hmm.
The older the neighborhoods got burned, the more stuff is growing back out, and then even trees are starting to come back out.
Mm.
Take hundreds and hundreds of years for really there to be much soil there. Because if we go to Maui, which supposedly last erupted 400 or 500 years ago, particularly to an area called La Perouse Bay, you can see so much life has come back, but it's still not really a soil. It's jagged stones at funny
Right.
angles. Kind of looks like Mars.
Right. Yeah. Wow. That's fascinating. It's fascinating on so many different levels. When I was, well, I'll tell you just one little weirdish story. I was in my, I told you how I got into this argument with my husband, or I actually misunderstood my husband and I turned it into a gigantic mega story. Like it, I see myself mostly to blame for this, so I will
Something
take
about
accountability.
lava and that story.
Yes. Okay. So I thought when I got home, I said I just need to meditate because I can't even think straight. I just need to meditate. And so I lit this candle. It was this white candle. And it looked like just like a normal candle, like this one, right? Like, so I have a little candle burning. It's like this, like this. It's not
Yep.
like, okay, so I light this candle. I put some incense on. I'm looking at the very end of the meditation, and the whole candle is melted through. For some
So
reason,
it's a circular, you've got like there just a
yeah, it's like a
circular cylindrical
circular, right?
candle,
Right. But then
a few
somehow
inches wide.
it melts unevenly. I don't even know how it melts unevenly, but it
It went
melts.
split.
It goes unevenly. The whole side melts down, and the plate that I have that candle, the white, it's like lava spilling all over.
Wow, this really is lava. This is
It
exactly what
was.
happened in your
It just like
discussion with him.
spilled up all over the place and destroyed my whole plate. And then for whatever reason I decided to take my hand and scoop it up. Which I don't know what that was really stupid. It burned the heck out of my hand. I'm like, what am I doing?
There are people who consider that recreation.
Yeah, and then there's like then that it got on my bracelet. Everything that was on that plate has a little bit of waxy feel to it. So I had that same kind of thing. But what is really interesting about it? So if you think about that experience that you had, I mean, sometimes you don't even want it to happen, right? I mean, the lava comes and destroys things around it. It's nature's way of clearing a path. Whether you want it to happen or not, it's happening regardless. I wasn't like, please let me have a dark night of the soul. I would love to be crying for 3 days. Like, I would not want that ever, right? But it didn't matter because nature was like just plowing through my life with this red hot lava burning down these structures that, frankly, some of them were made up in my head, right? Like, and they just kind of went and destroyed and let go and helped me let go of a whole bunch of ideas and thoughts and paradigms, like you said, that I didn't even know that I had. It was so weird, but I think that that's nature's way, right?
And to go along those lines, if we go back out to the lava fields, there formerly people lived there, they had their homes there, they had property there. Obviously, their property's gone, the whole thing is gone. You can't even figure out property lines.
Right.
There's no soil, there's no way to put anything in the ground.
Wow.
But what's interesting is afterwards, there's kind of I'll call it a race, but I don't know if anybody's actually sprinting for there. But people start putting up like shanty towns. They start putting up homes
Wow.
on the lava. And
Wow.
so people rebuild there, people who weren't there before, who come in, who are ingenious. They may not, I don't even think they have to pay for the property. It's just raw land at that point. And they
Wow.
start setting up shop.
Wow.
New life and very different form than before comes back fast.
Wow.
And so when this lava comes through and it goes and everything goes up in flames and you're going, oh my God, life is over. I don't know what's going on here. Rest assured tomorrow something can be rebuilt and something that looks really different.
Yeah, that's a really interesting thing. So I want to ask you, because you had your lava this weekend where you're like, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed. Where's Jessica? I have like the work of 3 people. So what, and it's been only 2 days, but do you feel things are shifting? And if so, what are the things that are shifting for you?
I have a very positive outlook long term. Some things just hit us that are going to be some really good challenges to get through short term. I don't know how we're going to get through them yet. There's always a way through. I don't know how. So I think there'll be a roller coaster ride. I'm not trying to bring that about, but I think that's reality. I know in this particular moment, I feel really good. And we've been working, I say we, I guess me and my higher self have been working on this new book. And the words are flowing. And if the words are flowing and I get them down on paper each day, that means just so much to me.
Right.
Because we're writers and we're book writers, and I haven't been doing it now for a few years. And so I'm racing to see if I can get something out for the holidays even.
Wow.
Because I'm not going to go the traditional publisher route for the moment. I just want to get stuff out to help people. So that has felt really good, and that is helping carry me. With that said, I'm not sure how these pieces of the puzzle are going to come together. And the biggest challenge that I have is I don't see from a time perspective how to make things even close to fit. And so I'm doing a lot of prayer. I was down on my knees yesterday. I had the most beautiful interview. I've had this week some of the best interviews I feel have happened. I think just the place I've been in and maybe the place the guests are at, it's just been such a gift. And I finished this interview yesterday with Larry Brilliant, and he'll win the Nobel Peace Prize someday, guaranteed. He basically single-handedly, and he would say it wasn't single-handedly, it was a 150,000 person team, which he dreamed up because of his guru telling him this is what you're going to do.
Wow.
Maharishi, the guru of Krishna Das and
Right.
Ram Das, had told him this is what you're going to do. He wiped out smallpox, a disease which killed 500 million people.
Wow.
And door to door, wiped it out when they're told there is no way you're going to stop this disease. It's been going on since the time of the pharaohs or before.
Wow.
And I had him on yesterday, such an amazing spiritual human being. Oh my God. And I finished the interview and it obviously went great.
Mm-hmm.
It went, I don't know the next time I'm going to interview somebody who's saved potentially 500 million lives.
Yeah.
I was dumbfounded, I was humbled, and I was in tears going, this is
Wow.
what I'm supposed to be doing.
Mm.
Clearly what I'm supposed to be doing.
Mm.
And I said, God, if this is what I'm supposed to be doing, why does it have to be this difficult? Why is there this challenge after the next challenge after the next challenge? I'm like, I surrender, I surrender, I surrender. Please help me out with this. Focus. No, no answer. All I know is that the challenges that have come.
What were you expecting? Did like the sky parts and like an advent
Yes.
shows up?
Oh my God, yes. But I don't. I know that the challenges that are coming before us are coming not necessarily to teach us. And there's a lot of repetition going on in my life right now or in our lives. I can watch exact patterns repeating that have repeated once or twice over in the last few years to almost like, wait, did I say that before? I can just watch them happening. So clearly there's something to learn. In that learning path, what I see it as is the challenges that you're experiencing now, Michael, will continue until you shift. And I don't know what that shift looks like, but that's why I'm being uncomfortable. That's why the discomfort has been given to me to help steer me, not to hurt me, not to torture me,
Right.
but to help me figure out a different path.
Mm.
And so I'm trying to listen more, to go quiet, to pray, to get down on my knees. It was a breakthrough moment, starting to cry until I realized that I was starting to cry, in which case it became are you trying to cry? And if you're trying to cry, then, and I basically intellected myself out of tears.
Oh my gosh. Well, isn't that funny? So, what do you think? Were you crying because you were hoping for an answer? Or were you crying because you were just so dismayed? Or were you crying because you were letting go of some idea?
I was crying because I was so touched and befuddled at the same time. I was so touched that I feel so incredibly on path, doing what I'm supposed to be doing, helping people, changing lives. The letters that come in lately are just astounding.
Mm.
And I know so much. This is where I'm supposed to be today. I can't say for tomorrow. This is where I'm supposed to be today. And at the same time, one challenge has suddenly appeared on top of the next, on top of the next. And I'm not really going into them on air here, but it's not just Jessica being out. We've got some substantial challenges which we will overcome. And I'm going, how can these two things coexist simultaneously? How can I be so on track and so completely off track both at the same time?
Well, because I think if you assume that you're off track, it may be your ego thinks that you're off track, but you're on track. It's just that you
Well, it's
can't
all
see
on
the
track. This
track.
is true.
Yeah, I mean, you just can't see the track. When let me see if I can get this right. Paul Selig, I was telling him about how I felt like I was on a bus, and I think I told you about this after the workshop that I feel like I'm on the bus. I'm on the spiritual bus. I have faith that I'm going in the direction. I'm letting spirit lead. And then there are times, he said, that people get off the bus because they feel like, oh, I'm sick of this stupid bus.
I hate to stop you there, but Jessica's Skype call earlier today was how she was retching on the bus.
Yeah, I gotta get off the bus. Like, it's making me sick. I'm gonna get off the bus. And then some people say, no, I'm gonna stay on the bus and know that wherever the bus goes is the right place for me. Even when I feel like I'm off track, I'm on track. It's just that I
Yeah.
can't see the bigger picture.
That's what's going on. I get it.
Yeah.
On a level, I get that but it's still, and this is for everybody listening as well, you can get it and you're still going, does it have to? So there's a level of surrender, I guess I haven't been fully willing to surrender myself to. I don't even know if that's true. Like I said, in the moment, I think I'm hearing a weaselly worming ego trying to drive the ship here.
I think the Weasley thing was when you kind of prevented yourself from releasing what needed to be released. You thought it was your ego faking crying, but I think actually it was a part of you. And I only know this because I was going through this similar tear shed moment earlier this week, where it was like, I woke up this morning going, I don't want to surrender into whatever the unknown, because it is just so freaking painful. Like, it was so painful the last couple of days. If this is what's required, I just would rather have my ego lead. Like, and I was like, wait, where'd that come from? And I literally had to have, I was having a conversation with myself
You
this
lead
morning.
ego.
Yeah.
Oh, great. That'll go well.
And I said, we know where that's going. We've done that a long time, and that's not going to go necessarily. It is the unknown, and you may not know where it's going, but doesn't it always go into a path that you always feel happier with? It's like, yes, but I don't want to feel this pain right now. It hurts so bad. And it does hurt so bad. There's nothing, and I think all you have to do is, but I think it's surrendering into the pain and going into the pain and surrendering into it versus running away from it. I think that's where I've concluded, and it's not, your ego doesn't want to do that. I mean, who wants to run into pain? We're programmed to not do that, so it's hard to do it. But I think how you started off the show saying that when you go in there, because you're fundamentally shifting some of the building blocks, you're going to shift the paradigm of your life, and something is going to happen. I don't even know if it's a good something's going to happen, but something is going to change.
Thanks, CJ. No, I truly believe something good, something great. I can see some of the somethings. I can see the pieces that are in alignment. The show that we're doing is in alignment. I can see some of the pieces that are out of alignment. I love speaking before large crowds. It's something I'm apparently really good at and did for many years. And now I'm reaching even more people behind the camera, behind the mic. But I know I want to get back out there again.
Yeah.
And so I think there's a poker I'm getting in my side right now to help move me in that direction as well. So I can see these pieces coming together. Just got a temporary, you have to be careful what you say. Somebody recently said that the most dangerous 4-letter word in the English language is hard. And so I don't want to say that it's a hard time, because then I make it that. Mm-hmm. But it is certainly a door that would be easier if it was open a little bit wider to get through.
Right. Well, just actually, maybe it's like, I surrender. May all of the, may I travel this path with effort and ease.
Yes.
And I think that for me, it seems like if I were to recount the experiences that I think you're referring to, is that you've had these experiences where you work, and it's like that ego striving and working so hard and like putting this gigantic push, right? Whether it's the book tour or maybe doing a run, or like there's always some moment where you're pushing yourself and it's your ego pushing yourself. And then there's a moment where it's like something breaks, like literally it could be you breaking or the car breaking or, something happens. And then you're laid out flat for a period of time. And the conclusion that you come to, it seems like, if I were to come up thematically, is gentle, easy, good. Like, that's always the ease, gentleness, it's all good. I don't have to strive as hard. It seems like that is the message from your past experiences. Do you think that's relevant here?
Well, it's always relevant, and surrender is always relevant. And I was writing a section in the book this morning about how after my second near-death experience, I lost a ton of blood,
Mm-hmm.
and I had a whole bunch of transfusions, and then they tried to get me moving, and my basically blood levels crashed through the floor again, and I said no more transfusions. I said I'm going to be able to pull myself out of this because every transfusion has a certain amount of risk to it.
Mm.
And so I'm like, I'm going to be able to do this. However, we're not going to do PT right now. We're not going to try to even sit me upright. We're going to take this at whatever super slow level is necessary for me to bring my own body systems back online.
Mm.
And it meant for weeks I couldn't sit upright. For a couple months I was really just getting to know the couch.
Mm.
In that time frame, we got saddled with well into the six digits of additional medical bills and expenses and helicopter bills and
Mm.
EMT bills,
Mm.
and there wasn't much I could do except be with it. And so I just tried to stay in this place of gratitude. I couldn't do anything at the time, but I just stayed in this place of gratitude. I'm so thankful. I'm so right. All right. I'm so thankful I'm healing. And just really worked on kind of cranking up that gratitude flame because there wasn't anything else I could do.
Mm.
After that incubation period, I was filled with so much gratitude that I had a bunch of energy to try to do something about this, or a
Mm.
bunch of optimism. That's the word. When gratitude is pumped in there so much, fear doesn't stand a chance. It
Mm-hmm.
gets knocked out. And then you become hyper optimistic
Mm-hmm.
that things are going to work out. And I started writing letters and making phone calls and filling out forms and jumping through every hoop I could. All the medical bills legally went away. One by
Wow.
one, each company wiped them off the records.
Wow.
And that came, oh, a miracle beyond miracle,
Wow.
because that would have just wiped,
Right.
wiped us off the map. All gone. I ended up just for an ambulance company that I
Right.
have anything left that I really had to pay.
Right.
And all of that came out of that time period of weak, stuck, couldn't move, couldn't lift my head. But
Right.
I just started cranking up the gratitude flame and saying, everything's going to come out of it. Everything's going to be okay. It's going to work itself out. Like you said, kind, gentle, easy, good. And then when the light came back on, I'm like, hey, I feel so good that I'm here, that I'm alive, that I'm kicking. Let's do this.
Right.
And the darn thing actually worked.
Okay, so how would that work if you tried that same? What would be the same exact thing that you would do now? What would you be grateful for, and how would you get there?
I'm grateful for so much. I'm grateful for the show. I'm grateful for the opportunity to help people. I'm grateful for my health. I'm grateful for our home, for the kitty cats, for Jessica's health. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. So I'm repeating that, and I'm repeating that multiple times a day. I'm also trying to do a forgiveness prayer right now. It seems very important, and my favorite forgiveness prayer is Ho'oponopono,
Mm-hmm.
which is I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And you can say it in a bunch of different orders. In
Mm-hmm.
Ho'oponopono, this Hawaiian prayer, you can say it towards yourself for self-forgiveness. You can say it to somebody else. If there's a problem that you're trying to heal, to take care of, you can send Ho'oponopono to it, and it works. And so I'm
Say it
trying to,
again. Say it again.
I am sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you.
Mm. And then you can say it. So I'm imagining saying that to my husband. I'm sorry. I love you. Please forgive you. Please forgive me. Thank you.
Thank you. And the order I tend to do it in is I am sorry,
Sorry.
please forgive me. I love you. Thank you.
Right. It's a very simple. So now I'm going to forgive myself. So it's like I'm sorry that I put myself through that. Love you. Okay, I forgive you.
Yeah.
I love you. Thank you. And then you may say
You
yes. So you
just-
go to
And then
every
you
single
just
person.
keep repeating it and repeating it and repeating it. There's I'll butcher the story. Forgive me, everyone. You can look it up online, Ho'oponopono. But there was a psychiatric ward, I believe it was in Honolulu, and they had these patients that they really couldn't do anything with. And there was no way they were able to reach and to help them. And they hired this gentleman to run the ward. It was kind of a, what's he going to do? And he went into a place of Ho'oponopono from the spiritual elders of Hawaii. And he went and visited each person in his heart. And one by one, I think, got their charts and just kept on doing Ho'opono. I love you. Please forgive me. I am sorry. Thank you. Boom, 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 boom. And I think they even closed the ward. They all got better. They all got
Wow.
better. And it's documented. And I have found it to be incredibly powerful when you have difficult situations with somebody else, when you have difficult situations with your spouse, or when you're literally writing your own case. Your ego is all over you. And that's when I was taught it. I was taught it by a shaman on Maui years ago when my ego was out of control. And by that, it didn't mean you're a great person, you're a big person. What it meant is, Michael, I'm sick and tired of you putting us in scary situations. I was just trying to improve our lives.
Right.
But the ego is the little 7-year-old inside of
Right.
you. And it was upset and wanting me to hit myself. It was really furious with me. And
Ah.
I was beside myself with anger and pain and wailing and crying and just a mess. And going to that place, I love you, please forgive me, I am sorry, thank you. I love you, please forgive me, I am sorry, thank you. I love you, please forgive me, I'm sorry, thank you. And it started to get through.
So you're using this forgiveness poem at this juncture to say that to your ego and the two masters that you described. That one's that's like you need to keep on going, Michael. And then the other
I'm
one is
doing
like,
it for both internal and external. We have some external circumstances going on, we have internal ones. And so I'm using it for both.
mm,
And I think it's going to be a very powerful tool. And if nothing else, when we're talking about surrender, it is an ultimate act of surrender. Forgiveness is probably the ultimate surrender that you can do. It's letting go.
right, right. Interesting. So you're basically using both the gratitude and the
Ho'oponopono.
Ho'oponopono.
Yep.
You've been using that in conjunction. So that's basically the equivalent of what you did when you had that near death experience and just kind of getting into that groove. So it's literally shifting your energy to a higher level so that when you're, and how's it, so when these things hit, are you relating to it differently?
I'm relating to it from the term that keeps coming in my mind is this too shall pass.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what, this too shall pass. You have no idea how to get through it. You have 36 hours worth of work to do in your 24-hour day if you didn't sleep.
Right,
This too shall pass.
right,
So, how are you going to do it, Michael? I have no idea, but this too shall pass. No, how are you going to do it, Michael? I have no idea, but all I have control of is this beautiful, perfect, present moment. This too shall pass.
wow,
And I just try to keep reminding myself that and staying in this present moment because I can't worry about this moment is talking with CJ and helping our thousands of listeners out there. Worrying about what's going to come in the future, I can't do about anything about it till I get there. I certainly can't do anything about it while I'm speaking with you. So it
mm-hmm,
makes no sense to go out there when my job right now is in here.
mm-hmm. So it's about being grounded in the present. So like not
Yeah.
focus, not future. Like oh my gosh, how about this? How about this? It's just like I can only be here. I can only do what I'm doing now, and I don't know how it's going to happen, but I have faith that it will happen in ways that I don't even understand, but it will happen, right?
Absolutely. And the biggest fear typically is what's going to happen, and whatever happens, it was a Napoleon Hill exercise, I think it was, that I saw online many years ago. It's on YouTube, going into your biggest fear, and to actually run it through to its conclusion. Well, if this happens, okay, well, that would mean that this situation, that situation. If that happened, and you run it through to its logical conclusion, and you realize that, okay, I'll probably still survive it. Mm-hmm. It may not look at all like I look.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you did die, and this is not a life or death situation, although the ego thinks it is. The ego is so terrified of annihilation. But I'm firmly convinced if I did die, the biggest thing is if I die, I'm going to miss my loved ones. Right. And even that's temporary, but I'm going to miss the heck out of them, or they'll miss the heck out of me. But I'm convinced beyond convinced. This isn't a luck of the draw. We're here by the odds of some dice of the universe, and once you're gone, it's poof. This is an old school Atari, and there's a reset button. It's not the end of the game.
Right. So like that. So that Napoleon Hill exercise helps you too, because you're like, wait, if I go to the awful conclusion that I'm afraid of, and I actually face that fear, it's first of all, it's not going to happen. No one's going to die, and you're going to be fine. And all the things that you care about the most are still going to be there, right?
Yeah.
As long as you are focused on those things, and that's all you can do. I love it.
It means so much to me that you're listening to the show. I would love your support in any way by giving me comments below, or to subscribe to the show, or share the show with friends. Thank you again for your support. Love and blessings.